Hey guys, so today I'm going to break down Mean Street by Van Halen, specifically the intro. So this intro has a bunch of stuff going on that you normally wouldn't do on guitar. Slapping with the left hand, muting with this hand, taking your thumb and, slapping the neck with it. It's just really odd kind of mechanics to be doing on the guitar. But what else are you going to expect from Eddie Van Halen? The crazy thing is that I think what a lot of people don't realize is that Eddie was coming up with all the stuff when he was like 23, 24 years old. I mean, the guy, seriously, he's a musical genius in terms of that stuff. He could also play keyboards. He could also do a lot of different things, right? But I just want to make sure I give him his due here. A lot of people can play this stuff. Very few people can come up with stuff like this. Eddie, for me, was just kind of the guy who put it all together. He had all the tricks, and it wasn't just about playing fast. He had this groove and this rhythmic swing to him that very few people can emulate. And it was just kind of born into him. He just did it. He didn't have to think about it, right? It was just the way he played. So let's get right down to it. So the first thing is that we're going to go into the song. And the song really sounds kind of like this. That's the rhythm right there. So the things that we need to get down, the thing I would practice is just simply getting your hand to swing back and forth. I will always talk about rhythm before I talk about anything else. So the rhythm here is just getting, just sit here and practice this. Get on the couch, watch some football, whatever, do some calculus, and then get this rhythm down and just let it be second nature to you. Don't even have to think about it, right? So once you've gotten that swing on that right hand down, then you add in between those two things, you want to add in the mute on the fretboard, so with the left hand, so it's so just continue to just practice this. And then the next step is that we obviously need to get the real pattern down. So the pattern is so what he'll do to repeat this pattern is he slips this this double slap. So he won't tap with his hand. So when we put it all together, so now onto the second part. So the second part's a little bit different than the first, given there's two things that are different. The first is he's not doing this crazy slapping thing anymore. He's more doing tapped stuff on the guitar. And secondly, there's less distortion in the first part than there is in the second part. And the reason he needs more distortion in this part is because he's going to be doing these tapped harmonics, and without the distortion, they're not going to quite pop out. I'm pretty sure on the album, there's two different takes. I think there's a punch in there that goes from the first slap part to the second part, with the first part having less distortion because it needs to be very percussive, and the second part that just needs those harmonics to pop out. So the pattern for the second part is tapping on the 12th fret and hammering on the 5th. So something like this. So just do that over and over and over again until you get that down. And what I would do is, since this pattern is going to be played on the E, A, and D strings, I would just try and go back and forth between those to get it clean. So I would just do this. Now that's not really what he plays, but my point is that you want to get the muting down, you want to get the harmonics down. Okay, so the next part we're just going to start putting these things together that we've learned, right? The tapping, the hammering on the 5th. So it's going to just change patterns a little bit. I'm going to play this slow. that changed in that pattern is when I fret that 5th string, I hit the harmonic again on the 12th fret. Just work on those harmonics, just work on getting those harmonics to come out. That will be something, that's a skill you need to have anyway, just getting those harmonics. Anytime you're going to play any Van Halen, you need to have that skill. And then coming back down, so coming back down, it is you just gotta, tap that. And you notice I'm going hitting this with this hand. So if we put it all together. So this next section is a little more complicated than the last. I found it to be the most difficult part because it has a bunch of rhythm stuff in it and it has some tapped harmonics on some different strings, which are a little bit more complex. So it goes like this. So that part right there, that little, it has a hammer on from the 5th to the 9th, the tap on the 14th, a release, and then back onto the 5th, and then tap again. So that last part, once you speed it up, it starts sounding right, but it might be a little odd to get that pattern down. That part's the difficult part. So you gotta practice it a bit to get that part down. And then it's just alternating back and forth between those last two patterns. So just alternating back and forth, and you play those twice. Okay, so congratulations if you made it this far. Now the most difficult part, at least for me, is about to happen. So we're already on the D string, we've tapped on the 12th fret, now we just need to take it down to the 11th and the 10th and go back down. So once we're there, we tap those harmonics. We pull off to the open string on the D from the 7th fret, and then hammer on the A string on the 7th fret, and then tap down 10, 11, 12. So to finish it off, I like to get that rhythm right. So tapping, so you're holding on to the 7th fret on the A string and you're tapping the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then eventually the 14th. I like to get that rhythm right. So really concentrate on that rhythm. I think that's very, very important. The other thing I will say is that these harmonics, they're very difficult for me to do as well. I don't hit them every time, especially on these lower strings, and the frets and the harmonics are very close together, so that makes it even more difficult. But practice and just really kind of put a lot of force into it. This is not a subtle thing. This is not I'm gonna mess around. Like you have to hit these things, So normally that's what I'll do is I'll sit here and I'll just, because your finger memory has to get right. You got to figure out how much pressure, and everybody's different, right? Your fingers are different sizes. The pressure you're going to apply is different. Your frets there could be so many different things that could be going on that could be making it difficult for you. But basically, practice is going to make perfect eventually. And so I'll just sit here and practice until you get it. So the last part is really, in my opinion, the easiest thing on here. So you start out by just fretting essentially a C chord, a C major chord on the D, G, and B strings. Some people just play it on the B and G strings, but I kind of hear that that D string in there as well, so I play that part. So you start off with that, and it's basically this. So that's really the pattern. It's more specifically. So and basically, instead of doing that, you're going to come up here and you're going to hit these harmonics. You just take a whammy bar now. And then congratulations, my friends. You have now learned the intro to Mean Street. If you can play this, you're doing pretty darn good. All right, thanks guys. I appreciate your time. Thanks.